Glenn Seton, car number 30. Second top qualifier at Winton, the same here at Eastern Creek. And here's the man he has to beat. The series leader for Shell, John Bowe, car number 18. This could be an electric start in the second row. They're a little closer to the front row here at Eastern Creek rather than at Winton. And it's Perkins and Brock. We'll keep an eye on them. Set to go. Race 1, round 7 of the Shell Touricar Nationals. They're off the line. Seton's away, but they're line astern. Brock tries to get down the inside, and Mark Skaife into a bit of muscle power here as they make it into the left-hander, and I think he's done it on the outside of Brock. Bow's clear. Seton finds himself being garnished here by Larry Perkins and the Castrol machine, so he's off and running strongly.
Well, an absolute another fantastic start by John Bowe. 3 in a row. That's not a bad average. Just fabulous.
You're really looking at this guy at the height of his powers, aren't you, Alan? He's qualifying well, 6 out of 7 so far in the championship, and just making some blinding starts as he chases down his first championship. Larry Perkins, though, great start from the second row to push his way up to second, and the rest of the field sort themselves out. There's Mark Skaife and the Winfield Commodore. Bit of a fight back in form for the Winfield boys here this weekend.
That's good to see. There's Johnson on the outside and Alan Jones up the inside. I don't think it'll be long before Perkins finds himself under fire from Glenn Seton. Another woeful start from Seton. He must make one good one before the end of the season. There's Bowe sprinting. Perkins second.
Massive field following down Corporate Hill for the first time. 26 cars in all, the V8s on fire and in big numbers in Sydney today. There's Larry Perkins coming under fire from Glenn Seton in second position. Third position is in fact Seton. Rocky got squeezed wide at the start. In fourth, then the first of the co-cars is Crompton in car 7 as they come back toward the straight. This long 250km/h run down to turn 1.
John Bowe already in the groove, and the advantage of having no one on his back bumper bar at this stage. Larry's sitting there, but he's not on his bumper bar. Look at that gap for the first lap. He'll just compound this lap after lap into a cushion.
Well, it's a bit of a grind run here. 22 laps around this 3.93km circuit. John Bowe obviously on some pretty soft tyres. Let's hope they can hang in for the distance of the race. Larry Perkins in second position. Seton just not giving him a moment's room, and he sneaks up the inside on turn 2. Larry's not going to give up. Yes, he is. Seton, good grip, run out of turn 2, moves up to second position. So it's a Ford 1-2 at the head of the pack.
We saw that on Castrol Oil's race cam. Beautifully caught, as Glenn Seton has to do and play another game of catch-up, all because of a poor start.
Yes, but that was a very good move on the catch-up department, Mike. He played that one well. He took the momentum off turn 1 and just lined Larry up and got him on that fast left-hander.
What is funny, last year Peter Brock took the lead at the start of this race. Everyone in the grandstand stood up and just cheered for 21 laps. We've seen John Bowe take the lead on the first lap, and hardly a soul got up out of their seat. I think they're planning on maybe something from Peter Brock late in this race. He's certainly a favourite here at Eastern Creek, and here he is.
He's certainly got the right tyres. Bridgestone have been the form tyres at Eastern Creek over the years. He's nailing Larry Perkins. Max Crompton's going with him. Nick Johnson, John Bowe's teammate, a long way back through the pack. I think he's still in the top 10. But a great battle ensuing here as Brock hunts down Perkins.
I think Brock left his hard way at Winton, that he just has to get a little bit more with it on the opening laps. He can't let the race unfold, and he's really starting to monster Larry here.
Well, he's in the
second lap.
He's in the draft. The crowd's starting to warm to this just a little bit as Rocky hones in on the tail of Perkins. Crompton is next, followed by Skaife. Then it's Jones, Dickie Johnson. Wade Gardner is the next one into the left-hander as Brock starts to mount a challenge on Perkins.
Real speed off turn 1. Those guys are flying through that first left-hander as we take GIO race cam.
Here's the move.
Larry getting to the inside, Brock on the outside. Gets shuffled back. Perkins covers his ground very effectively. Great battle here too. Brock currently second in the championship, trying to make up the points deficit to John Bowe in the lead of the points table this crucial round of the championship. Brock hovers all over the back of Perkins' car, and Crompton not at all being left behind as we take GIO race cam and show you that as he heads onto the back of this battle. Just keeping an eye on these two in front. Let's see if Crompton, currently in 5th position, a great run at Winton only a week ago. A good fight back and forth from the Coke boys as we approach Mount Panorama in a few months' time.
There's Brocky pulling out of the stream, not really concerned about it being a slipstream up that straight, but just trying to flash his presence to Larry Perkins. But Larry's got a great handling car. He's very happy with it. Unfortunately had electrical problems at Winton and didn't show as much last weekend, but he's out here today with a vengeance. points, and Brock not able to get by him yet.
Well, the impression I get is that Brock's closed up, so too is everyone else behind Perkins. Bowe moves across the racetrack to protect the inside. Seton is back one car length behind him, so not a lot has changed. That's about been the split for the last 2 laps.
Flying forwards just streeting the field too, Mike. They've got it out to 3.18 seconds after 5 laps. So superior speed in these opening laps. 5 laps down of 22. Seton really puts the pressure on. You couldn't get a cigarette paper between those 2 bumper bars.
Now he's holding it extremely well there, and he really is pressuring John now. There's no question about that. Here we go.
Look at this.
I don't like it.
Are you going to park him? No, he passes him.
He's got him. Well done.
Holy moly, we've got a race going. Finally, it's taken about 6 races to someone get up. Nothing disrespectful about John, but he really needs some competition up there. Obviously, he can't get it from Dick Johnson. He's down to the tail end of the field, throwing everything at the number 18 car and suffering badly himself.
So Seton changes position at the top. Bowe in second. Still Perkins, Brock, Crompton, Skaife, Jones, Dickie Johnson in 8th, Wayne Gardner in 9th, and Tony Lowndes. That rounds out the 10. 6 laps down of 22 at Eastern Creek this afternoon. Brock not being able to do anything about Perkins at this stage. Larry gets a little bit sideways on the exit to turn 2.
Well, this is real competitive racing. You can't say the Holden racing team can be hurting for funds and to have a customer car, and that's the only way they think of Larry. Just someone that they would like to beat, but they're not doing it here today.
No, it'd be frustrating for them because he reminds them, and here he goes, still trying to hold Brocky off. Brock's scenario yesterday to me was that Seton would take the lead inside 5, and he said, I've got I think to outmuscle Seton.
Castrol race cam shows you Brock got a little bit sideways, and the crowd lets out an enormous cheer on pit straight here as their hero Brock pushes his way through on Larry Perkins and sets out after the Fords ahead of him.
Yes, the monster screen here in front of the grandstand, which is a fabulous idea, shows the crowd here in the main straight what's going on around the back.
Castrol race cam, another marvellous view of motorsport. You're just a few inches off the ground here, looking at the back of Brock's car as he comes on toward pit straight.
There'll be a little difference here as they come back on to the pit straight. The crowd off to the right in the grandstand. They've seen the Brock move. They're already working their way up to their feet to wave Brocky and pointing to the front. They sure are. You're going to love it there going with the folks here.
So Seton in control on lap 7 of 22. John Bowe in second. Brock now up to third. Larry Perkins fourth. Skaife in fifth. Alan Jones in sixth. Then it's Crompton, Johnson, Gardner, and Richards.
It looks an easy corner on camera, but just watch the way Brock was nursing it through that corner, just coaxing it, constantly correcting it. Not a bad act at 250k, I must say.
Well, Larry could well be in tyre trouble here. He's slipping back into the clutches of the cars, sneaking up behind him. He's doing slower lap times than the cars around him too. He slipped up into the 1 minute 37 second bracket, which would explain why he's being pounced on from all directions.
Well, the tire war has become absolutely crucial. The formula is so competitive, and every other nuance covered in so many equal ways that the variety of tires, Mark, is starting to be the weak link in this championship.
Has it almost got to the point where we need a control tyre?
Well, I think it is, actually. It's hard to say that.
But here comes Skaife up on the inside of Larry, and there goes Skaife.
Here's evidence of it. Larry Perkins, obviously in some sort of trouble, could well be tyres.
Here comes AJ.
Larry will drive as hard as anybody, but when he knows he's beaten, he's not a hog behind the wheel, and I think that was a decent move there, and Skaife by through. He knows that he's now got Jones to contend with, and I'm sure will go by equally quickly.
So Alan Jones sneaks up under the wing of the Castrol Commodore with no shortage of grunt and straight line. The Castrol Chevy be able to hold out Jones down this fast part of the circuit, become the twisty stuff. Jones has got the rubber that you want at Eastern Creek this weekend. Jones in sixth, Perkins in fifth. Let's see if he makes a move on him. Under brakes as they come up to turn 2.
Yes, he will.
There he goes.
AJ's day. He's through on the inside, picks up one more spot, and it is good to see Jones having a good run, and Mark Skaife in the Winfield Commodore producing some of his best form of the season. Glenn Seton heads down to the right-hander, and that's becoming a fairly good gap back to John Bowe. Let's check them out for you on the Shell Racecourse. Seton is your race leader. John Bowe runs in second. Brocky, my man, is on the move, followed by Skaife and AJ rounding out the top 5. the inside. He's an old stager, Perkins.
But
Never leaves doors open for anyone. But there it is, Wayne Gardner, car number 4. Was sort of taken out of the Peter Jackson dash a little earlier this morning by an over-exuberant Alan Jones. But he's caught up with Dick right behind him now.
Well, certainly pride on the line between these Castrol and Coke boys. They really are each other's yardstick, as Dunlop Race Camp shows. Dick Johnson coming into pounce on Larry Perkins as well as he continues his slide back through the field.
Look at the gap. There's Glenn goes through.
It's out to 5.19 seconds.
Here comes Rocky down the inside. Wasn't enough left there. And while Brock is being contained here by Bowe, Mark Skaife and Alan Jones are coming up onto his bumper. He really needs to get past Bowe and try and put a little bit of distance in there, because I have a feeling if he can deal with them, so can they.
Well, we've gone half distance now. They're on the 13th lap, in fact, of this 22-lap contest.
Well, anybody that drove the way John Bowe did at Winton a week ago, you would expect him to be able to hold off just about anyone, and maybe we're just being a bit too adventurous with our comments here that Brock is going to walk by any second of the clock.
I'll have a quick 50 that says he will.
Well, you can put your money
What
down.
about that?
Oh, he's not there yet.
Well, it is.
Well, what lap do you want that 50?
Well, the trouble is, if John's going to drive like that, he's going to wear more of his tyres out too. He's really in the defensive mode, and Skaife has said, come on, Rocky, time to go, and Jones is there with a little more power than Skaife. I mean, fairly or unfairly, is John holding up the show at the moment? Well, stand by. Crowd are ready to stand as Brocky tries to line it up, but Bowe has just got a little too much power and is able to get him down into the bottom turn again. Fascinating scrap for second place.
Seton continuing to build on his lead at the front, 5.41 seconds that time around. Make Bowe a blanket over these guys. Bowe, Brock, Skaife and Jones. Cronk a little further back at 6th, just ahead of his teammate Wayne Gardner.
He's setting a very, very tough pace here, and these fellas are going to have to work hard to get by. I didn't actually get an answer to what lap you want that 50 on, Mike.
Oh!
Here. Oh, okay. Another go on the left here.
You wait till it happens, and then you'll tell us.
You can read the results. Here we go. I mean, Brocky has sort of signalled, I believe, that he's ready to pass, but just can't do enough about it at the moment.
Comes up alongside John Bowe as they come down toward Corporate Hill.
Yeah.
The crowd goes crazy. He's done it. And Skaife tries to go through as well.
And here comes Jones. The crowd all stood as one.
Oh, look at the tyre rubbing on Skaife's car now. The smoke belching from their front tyre. Will that clear? We don't know. But he's done a bit of damage to the front of the car as he moved it into the side of Bowe's car.
Yeah, he did a bit of damage, but he also, that was a very smart move. He tried hard, and he really capitalized on the vulnerability he saw in the number 18 car. Now here's Alan Jones taking a bit of slice of that vulnerability. So I think Mark's in a little bit of trouble.
Yes, AJ would have said, well, hang on, my teammate's trying to win this championship too, but he's been able to get through. Bowe just fading back into the pack a little. I don't think there's anyone else going to catch him for the next few laps. We've got Thomas Mazzera, Peter Brock's teammate. We're trying to just cover which side of the track we think he's going to effect a pass on. So far, Johnson able to just hold him at bay. There's not much in it, and Jimmy Richards starting to look like the Jimmy Richards of old. I don't know how old that was, but it's been a long time since we've seen Jim up monstering anyone.
This is the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th position. Mazzera goes with Johnson in a straight line. See if he gets him any aerodynamic zones. Down to this very quick turn 1 turn. No room there. Has a look down the inside, then the outside, decides to follow Johnson through. Let's see if they can nail him under brakes as they come up to turn 2 hairpin.
Have a bit more momentum there, but Johnson will wake up to that. Not quite awake up to that move. Mazzera really did have the momentum there. Dick would have been slower through the turn 1 because of the tight entry, but still able to hold off Mazzera.
15 down. On lap 16 now. Dick Johnson, Dunlop Race Cam shows the battle here for 8th, 9th and 10th position. Thomas Mazzera bearing down. Bobby Pearson in plenty of trouble in the Product Commodore.
Holds it out of the gravel.
Saw him take a bit of a wild ride across the grass 7 days ago at Winton, and he's done it again here. That was through turn 1, 2. Boy, he would have had his heart in his mouth for a few moments there.
Well, he was thinking of going back, and I just think I'll park here for a moment and have a think about that.
Yes, he's calling it today, I think. No, maybe not.
Matthew, Mark, Luke and Product.
Yeah.
He's alongside Dick as they head up into the next one, which will find Dick has the line for the turn. And here's Jimmy Richards. So I remember I used to be able to do this.
Johnson moves over and covers his territory. Very wide circuit here at Eastern Creek Raceway. A lot of opportunities to go into the braking area. And Richards around the outside of Thomas Maziera, side by side as they come back toward the start-finish straight.
Not quite, but a nice try.
Larry Perkins in trouble, unfortunately heading back to pit lane.
Oh, he's going to reverse it into his pit garage. He's calling it a day for this heat.
And he'll bring us up to date with the problems with the Perkins Castrol machine. That's the second race in the 2 weekends that we've seen Larry park out of the first heat.
Whoa!
It had to happen.
Thomas Maziera getting fed up there. Following Dick around, he's tried every different way to get past.
Big shout from the grandstand again. Dick is mad now. He's saying a few words there that we won't keep on tape.
17 laps down. Leader Glenn Seton out on the 18th lap. And let's look at this again on Tui's Blue. Just a little tap from Maziera there to say, I've had enough of this.
And all it takes is the slightest tap when forces, centrifugal force, leaning the car, can almost push a car out of shape by hand.
There's Dickie Johnson. Did that naughty man in the Holden hit you?
Well, Michael, you know, it's like driving around here on these tyres the way they are. It's just like, it's a bit harder than trying to find a jury for no Jay Simpson, I think.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to say.
Well, I tell you what, this race field's about as long as that trial, too, I think.
Well, you haven't got that long to go. Can you make it, or will it be down to the canvas by then?
Well, you know, I suppose I'll just have to rest the fly spot and see what happens at the end.
Well, you go up and have a good time, and we'll talk to the Holden man later.
Okay.
There's Glenn Seton down into the left-hander. Peter Brock still making a little gain.
Just took a tenth out of him then, 2.5 seconds. It feels like Glenn is just in control of the situation, easing back a little bit, Alan. Or how would you?
Well, you can't say for sure. We can't tell that. I sincerely hope for his sake that's the case, but we've seen 05 in his 5-0 year come barreling down on a lot of young guys earlier this year. I don't think it's a case of wondering whether Brocky's competitive.
Well,
Let's look back through the field. The first two have gone through. There's Mark Skaife and the Winfield Commodore, having a much better day at Eastern Creek, running in third. Fourth is Alan Jones. Fifth is Bowe, who's falling back into the clutches of Neil Crompton and Wayne Gardner in their co-Commodores. Jimmy Richards is up to eighth. Thomas Maziera is ninth. And Tony Longhurst and the Castrol Falcon rounds out the top 10.
the penultimate lap, but one to go, and they cross the start-finish line this time around. Seton in control. And as Mike said before, a great fight back from the Winfield team, just ahead of Alan Jones here in fourth position. In fact, a good fight back from Alan Jones himself, only qualified 10th. He's been having a pretty miserable 2 days here in practice and qualifying, but now he's ground his way up to fourth position. Some 3 cars back from his teammate in the lead, so good strong showing from the Peter Jackson Ford team here this weekend.
Well, Brock will be fairly happy even in second at the moment, because he picked up passing points in the dash where he ran third this morning.
Nothing shabby about running second in this field, Mike.
Absolutely not. As they head down to turn number 1, gap about fairly constant. Skaife in third, Jones in fourth. Their gap's about the same.
Last lap. Glenn Seton maintaining that gap, 2.2 seconds. The gap over Brock that last time around. 7 seconds. Back there to Mark Skaife.
Glenn Seton here with the headlights on, just to warn any of those slower cars he's coming up on that the race leader is approaching. Takes it into the left-hander. Brock a little closer than he was the last time they went by that turn. You see the gap. They head up now to...
I think Glenn's just using his head here for more than a head rack, and definitely bringing this one down nice and gently, not making any stabby moves that are going to upset the handling, upset his rhythm, which is terribly important at this stage.
Well, I guess it begs the question, can Bowe do any more of the tyres he's on? Because if he changes, he then goes to the rear. So he's also facing a problem.
He does have a fresh set of tyres for the second heat.
I'm saying he's got the same set of tyres that he had for the first.
If he's got the same type, he's in trouble.
Slip back through the field again. And of course the finishing order for the first heat designates your starting order for the second. So Bowe has a lot of battles on his hands today.
Checkered flag time for Glenn Seton. This is race number 1 of round number 7 at Eastern Creek. Seton wins barely from Peter Brock, who came storming at him at the finish. Third place is going to go to Mark Skaife, followed by Jones and John Bowe. He'll just get across the line to finish in 5th place and away from the 2 Coke Commodores of Neil Crompton and Wayne Gardner. Let's check them out on the Shell race score. Glenn Seton, the winner of heat number 1, round 7. Peter Brock placed 2nd and closing fast he was. Mark Skaife finished in 3rd. Alan Jones was 4th. Neil Crompton hitting. John Bowe on the line. Bowe dropped back to 6th. Wayne Gardner was 7th. Jimmy Richards 8th. Tony Longhurst and the Castrol Falcon finished 9th. And 015 Thomas Mazira, the mobile.